Alright, very brief game of the day here on Scourge Legacy, Legacy of Niflhel, Forest of Niflhel. And I don't really remember how good this game is. I know it's a short game, for what it's worth, but there's one fun little play that I kind of want to highlight here. So, yeah, we'll move on through. Kind of averaging out again to not play so much. I've stopped swapping regions as well so that I can actually climb. So because I have been swapping my placements so much, even if my MMO goes quite high, I don't have the game qualifications for the leaderboards. Right now, I'm right on the border of Plat 3 for NA, which is, if I was on the leaderboard, something like top 15. So I might actually be able to show you guys some real games with decent players. A few of you have pointed out that, yeah, on some of those Berserker videos, obviously, no one's really any good. And I want to stress that I don't think it's an amazing build for really good queues. I just think it's a worthwhile build for regular average queues, when you're not playing during prime time or whatever, and the quality of the player base is low enough you can have fun. Let me just be very clear about that. Anyway, so yeah, I don't remember how high rated this game is. We'll see how we go. We're on Scourge. We come up to mid. Obviously, the standard stuff I've talked about in most of these other episodes I won't keep rambling on about. So we use the original mark because it's really discardable. We're going to use this one as well. We're spacing them out so that any dodge here will have to blow another one, or they'll have to eat a bit of bleeds. Bit annoying with the other Scourge, to be honest. I could push up. I could push the line with this here and be nice and aggressive. Like, basically, the Scourges being together, not too close to get cleaved down monstrously by Reaper AoEs or whatnot, but the Scourges being reasonably close together, especially once we've got some Life Shroud up, can be nice. In that we give each other barrier and whatnot. So anyway, I do start pushing the line. This is a nice choke, obviously, and it's a good place to have things. His Chillblains is procced there. Though it looks like there's a lot of opponents there, some of it's just like AI. There's a Flesh Worm there, and there's a Ranger Pet there. The Flesh Worm is a threat, by the way, because any really good Reaper can pour in and suddenly just go ham out of the back of that. And I don't know what my enemies are right now. I don't know actually what this actually is. So I have to be cautious. Anyway, they push heavily into the choke, and you can see that our Guardian's getting hit hard. This is not a Firebrand, by the way. And you will have seen at the start of the game, I will have clicked him to make sure if it's a Firebrand or not. It's a DH, and he's trapped in the choke, but it's not very good in his position, and is really scary right now. We don't have enough Shroud either from the start of the mid-fight to transfuse him, which is going to be a big thing we'll be playing with here in this episode. So I take the Torch 4, which I appreciate is going to be really good. This gives you more life force per target struck, and so we get like 3 players worth, and this builds us enough Shroud. Now, we've kind of got a choice here as well. We could F1, which corrupts, and also would establish something, which is probably better to place the Shade. Instead, I go for the Scepter 3, which probably is not as good. If I was on the Curses variant, do they run the AoE thing on the Curses variant? I can see some actual value out of that, possibly, especially in really good team fights. Anyway, we take the guy down, and it's funny, the power of our auto attack actually here. And my allied Scourge is very quick dropping the elite over that, which I really quite like. Now all I have to do is drop my elite over it, and we just kill any chance at a res. Possibly a waste, to be honest. If I'd moved forward and pushed into these two at the bottom of the ramp, I could have maybe got more value out of it. But yeah, so we can consume conditions there, get a lot of value out of that. Pull them away. We're looking at our minimap and our team health bars right now as well, and we see that everyone's healthy now. If people were low, I'd swing the camera and I'd figure out what's going on. We also look back to close, and we see that we won our 1v1. So let's be clear here. Quite often, it can go well for you, and it has nothing to do with you playing well. It has to do with the enemy team playing badly, and that's exactly what happened here. The enemy team invested a player to push it far, which meant that they were outnumbered for longer at mid, because they don't get equal numbers at mid until their close node person comes up. So they risked the entire mid fight by pushing far, right? And by doing that, they lost mid, and the guy who pushed far, who stalled our guy from coming up, right, which is why equal numbers would later appear there, the guy that pushed far lost his 1v1. To a Ranger, by the way, which I'm more and more learning, is like the ultimate side noder at the moment, apparently, right, guys? You can talk to me about that in the comments. I haven't played a Soul Beast that runs that kind of build right now, so kind of curious. Could be fun. All right, so anyway, we haze this guy, we aggress him, we just keep him low and keep building Shroud off of him. Here we see that he uses Trail of Sand, which gives him stabs, so I can corrupt that, turn it into a fear. And then while he's feared, we can guarantee we get the torch. But here, this is pretty bad now because I've kind of pushed a lot away from my team who are all... I don't know why they're still on the node, to be honest. But 3 players, they were 3v1ing up there. So this is kind of bad because for multiple reasons. Number one, and I was aware of this in the moment, obviously. As that guy kites you there, he's looking to kite me into his respawn. So we're never going to cross that door. We were never going to do that. But it looks like the ranger that was over here has actually started pew-pewing me, which is bad because this guy's noticed and he'll turn around and he'll hit me at the same time. So, he also gets a beautiful Plague Signet proc there, which I could have pre-casted my dodge to land. He was really quick off the mark, honestly, that opposing Scourge. Very, very good at noticing the second extra pressure came in and then Plague Signeted me. And obviously my consume conditions from a moment ago is still on cooldown. I can use my F2 to cleanse at least once, which is what we do here. And we establish a shade behind us. So coming around here stops the projectiles, forces him into a barrage, which we don't have to be too scared of. And then if he wants to kite and follow me, as I come up on these rocks and continue creating LOS, he's going to be kited all the way through that. So that's my thinking there. Back on this guy as well because he's low and I get the assistance. But I'm low too, and obviously respawns are still a fear. So we're very low. We got to be cautious of the ranger here. I barrier myself. Get the marks down. This guy's been hit really hard now. So, you know, this is pretty scary. We want to get back on our scepter in a second. Get a bit more pressure coming out in a moment. I want to hold this because I really want the stun break for it. We didn't have spectral armor available. Here's the enemy's elite, which obviously we don't want to walk into. And he kites back through the elite, which means that my torch, and I'm trying to stay on the edge of it, won't land from here. Which is kind of lame. But we managed to get the downstate, so that's good. But I remember the other guy walked up here, so I swing the camera just to see what's going on. And the ranger took decap. I think that this was possibly a real mistake from the ranger there. I know he was outnumbered as this guy coming through, but honestly, it was only an extra little bit of pressure here. And then on me, I think he could have done some real good here. So I take a dodge back through that mark. And I've made a huge mistake here, right? Because my guy's down. So we pull away, we transfuse, which ports the body out of the stomp. Actually, is that a mistake? Maybe I did that whole thing deliberately. I don't know. This was a game a bit back. Maybe, I don't know. I won't give myself the benefit of the doubt. I probably just didn't have the awareness the guy was even low. So anyway, we come back. We transfuse him towards us. And now, when we start rezzing, we can use Trail of Sand for stab during it as well. We missed the stab. It's irrelevant anyway. So the guy feared me. If I'd stabbed a little bit earlier, it would have been fine. So this DH here has just stealthed himself with trapper runes. And I think that's what the situation was there. It was bad for me because it was 2 downs. And I had to help swing it regardless. But a stealth DH came in, I guess. And started rezzing, which was the real fear there. So anyway, we just drop all of our horrible stuff all over there. So this next moment's quite interesting. You see the other Plague Signet coming from this Necro, who's going to bomb this guy, and he's going to play really aggressively. Now here, you see the DH stealths again. Now he's stealthed again because he's trapped. So you kind of see a bit of a misplay from me coming up here. Watching this here, it's quite obvious to me that he's probably low, and this could be his heal trap. And the DH heal trap, if you learn to play around that, it's like the easiest way to sort of start countering them. Basically, if I walk on this, the theory would be it would heal him massively. Now, we can actually see in the moment, maybe I saw this in the moment too, but I think the animation there, I don't know 100% the Dragon Hunter animations for the traps. It's probably worth actually looking at. But this isn't actually a heal trap, so we can walk into it and aggress him. But you kind of, if you see something like this, you want to backpedal and stay careful, right? So here we take a dodge back to avoid the torch. We move back towards him, and you can see he's low there, right? But my guy's gone deep. I kind of have to go deep too. So we walk into the trap here, and luckily it's just a, what's this called? Trail of Blades? Anyway, so we're kind of okay with this, right? And we can move in. Now, here, as I dodge back out of this, okay, and my guy goes aggressive to the Scourge, you can see a really interesting situation developing here, a really scary one. I'm low, guys. I've got very, very, very little cooldown utility left. This guy has obviously retargeted to me. The Scourge is out of my range, and my guy is on his last heal, where he's also low. So this is kind of an awesome 2v2 here, where there's a lot of volatility. So the thing we want to do on this build is be alive for as long as possible, so we can proc a transfuse on our friend, and maybe even, and here's the real dream, you res the friend, and then you go downstate in your own well of blood, so that as soon as he stands up, he can start resing you as well. So anyway, that's the thing. Now, he uses deflecting shot here, which knocks me, and again, this is now really, really bad, just a couple of frames later. My only out here to survive, and I have to survive, here, this might even be his F1 coming, is I have to line of sight this. So, I know he's going to have a big hit coming. He can true shot. So, what line of sight do we have available? You can pause and think about that for yourselves for a second. Well, we do have the graves. So, what I do is I stand ever so slightly. I walk forwards, and we LOS behind the grave here by standing back slightly. This is the true shot. It misses by hitting the grave. That lets me get my heal up. We dodge out of his longbow 5 as well, so we don't get rooted by that. And now he's in the really dangerous position. We corrupt the Aegis into burning, which also means the impact of our next attack can be good. I didn't have the endurance to dodge that. We bait him in with the swords, going straight into our Q with barrier there, our F5, and then all of his traps come down. Now we've won our 1v1. These guys have doubled down themselves, and so all that's left is we need to transfuse the body. We can drop the elite over the Scourge as well. We can stab ourselves here with the Trail of Sands and get the res with the transfuse, thus winning the 2v2. And the only reason we won this 2v2, you got to understand, this was a double down, and this would have been a double down as well for both people. But the only reason we won our 1v1 and snowballed this 1v1 was because I managed to get that LOS on the grave. And the little grave as well at that, so... yeah, that was kind of a fun little moment. There's a fly buzzing around me constantly. One flew in my mouth when I was streaming the other day. So I drop a mark over the body. Marks don't pop bodies, just to be very clear. And I didn't think it was going to pop it there. But you can use it just to dissuade potential res. And there's kind of an interesting, like, mind games that goes on with little moments like this. So basically, and I do believe in this as a Scourge, if you watch here, I drop the 2 over him. Nothing else, just 1, 2. But, and you might think, well, what's the point in that? The thing is, if anybody's coming in, if there's more stealth at play or something, right? If they see a mark over the body, they're going to assume it's the 5. And they'll blow a dodge as they move in. Because you cannot risk getting feared away from a body in a clutch moment like that. So they're going to dodge. They're not going to test if it's actually if it's one of the other marks. So you just throw the 1 on there. I suppose I could have put in the choke here as well, so that you can blow 2 dodges. That would have been a really nice little thing as well. Now, I don't always use the 2. I do occasionally actually use the 5 as well. Especially when you're in a situation where you're queuing into the same people over and over in that evening. It's worth, shaking it up because they might just think, oh, that's pointless. I doubt many people really have the awareness to even think about that. But yeah, so you can just throw the 1, and then anyway, we take the stomp. Honestly, there's a lot of, like, really clunky little execution things there. I should have seen that his downstate 2 was going to trigger and dodged away from it. But yeah, so we come round, we assist this, we flip the stab. We blow the Reaper up. We really don't want to do too much there. The elite from my ally I don't think was too worthwhile. But the only reason I'm winning this game right now, guys, is because close has been so definitively held. So now that I've secured the 2 cap, all right, and I really like this guy's positioning here as well, I can now start thinking about aggressing. But you have to be very cautious when you're thinking about aggressing. So, here I'm even walking back towards mid because I don't know who's crossing. I see that there's a guard there, but I've got my 2 friends in mid. So it's fine. I start walking back, and the ranger starts moving up. So here I'm freaking out because I'm like, oh, God, what if the guard went through the cap? In which case, if the guard had did that, it would have been amazing. But no, the guard is still aggressing mid. So poor play there from him. I wonder if the ranger is essentially doing the same thing over at beach as I'm doing here. Maybe he turned around because I turned around, and now I've turned around because he's turned around. In any case, the main thing on my mind here as we rewind, right, is we're walking back looking for that close thing in the Guardian. But right here at this moment, I've realized that the guy that's aggressed, the warrior, who wants to really be 1vx, he wants to be outnumbered over there. He doesn't want to bait a Scourge unsupported over to him when he's low and he can't help each other. And then we lose the 2v2 or we get outnumbered. He doesn't want me to go all the way over there necessarily, right? So we've got our warrior nicely established on far. We've got our ranger nicely established backnoding, which is okay. But he's now been 1vx for a while, which he wants to be, but he's low. He's low as hell. And this turnaround here really is 90% because he's low. And don't forget, we can transfuse as a Scourge. So what I'm trying to do is get him to this choke. I might even ping him as I go over. You can see me furiously mousing like this. He just needs to survive to the choke. And because I turned around here, instead of just tunnel visioning over on this, which was already an outnumbered thing in my favor. So we immediately drop some chill, we transfuse, we pluck him over. I don't have stab, so bit of a huge misplay from me, really. I use this stab to give myself swiftness to get to the warrior quicker earlier. That's why you saw I did the Trail of Sand, but it might not have actually been In the future, I should probably hold that, because keeping the stab is probably a nice idea. But, I mean, there's a lot of corrupt around. I don't know. Anyway, so we get the res. And this is a nice high awareness play. You know, it's because I was looking at far. And we bait them into a choke as well. Now he goes deep again. And I don't know why he does that, which is really frustrating. He forces me to go deep. We can go for another transfuse for the fear this time, that was. But we also get the port, obviously, and a little bit of res value. Now I'm outnumbered, but I know that I've got that ranger behind me, so I can push him. Warrior rallies based on the other kill. I get dunked by the opposing Reaper. He takes rampage res on me, which is beautiful. I think I made... Did I even have a pet help in search and rescue there? And we kind of bait the enemy team into a nice little choke here. Out of... so here we can transfuse again, and the Well of Blood's up again. The Well of Blood comes up every other transfuse, roughly, right? So when you're doing them back-to-back, like you just saw there, and getting res value off of every single one is pretty good. In fact, you're seeing really the value of why Sage's Blood Scourge is so good in these kinds of queues. As opposed to more the glassy variant. And so, yeah, now, you'll notice I rotate back. And that's because I want him to do his thing, you know, outnumbered. Let him just troll two of them around. That's the worst thing in the world when you've just wiped against a 2-cap. You haven't even managed to push into enemy territory that much. And you know now you've got a farpointer that's going to be kiting some of your guys around, so you're on the back step. You don't even have confidence in a great regroup as long as this guy can flee, right? It's horrible for the enemy team. But a great position for us. And that's basically the win of the game, as far as I'm concerned. Unfortunately, this ranger's position now, he's been sort of flirting around here, as well as me. And I'm being a bit brain dead, really. I don't really want to be the guy that rotates all the way back there. So we established a big fight here. I want to be in the big fights, essentially, right? So the ranger, the warrior, and me. It's not great. This warrior is on me, so I dodge his shield bash. I preemptively cast the spectral armor. We knock him down. We keep pressuring him. He's got resist up, so we try and corrupt it. We get obstructed on the rock there, the tiniest little thing there. Getting obstructed on corrupt boon feels horrible because there's like no animation or any real tangible understanding for why that would happen. Anyway, he jumps back into me and we can kill him very, very comfortably there. So that guy just got in a pretty awful position. So my Necro now aggro's on boss. I'm not sure what was going on here, really. He didn't want to take whatever that 1v1 was that presented himself. So I've got to kill the warrior. This is really bad, to be honest, from the warrior. The warrior should attack the boss here. Not necessarily to try and steal, but to rally. He'll rally on the boss if he attacks it. So, you know, that's a really worthwhile thing for him to do, but he keeps attacking me, and I'm really concerned about that. As well, it's a warrior. He can vengeance and steal. A vengeance steal is epically cool. And my guy's just... If you're Ganu, at least go all the way over there. But doing that in front of the downstate warrior, I think is awful. And here I'm just really concerned about what the hell's going on. I saw he was autoing me, so I wasn't too concerned. It actually looks like he's trying to vengeance there right at the end. I mean, it's so bad, guys. It's so bad. I take the opportunity for the autos to generate Shroud. Probably a massive misplay from me, to be honest. If I'd gone to Scepter... and I could have put a shade over it. I could have made sure he had a lot of incapacitating conditions on him the second he vengeances, thus improving our odds of him not actually stealing. Anyway, so I can come back up to the node now. This is Zerg. I shouldn't be here. I should really be in the other place. This Guardian. So this is gross, right? So look at what this Guardian does. I thought the game was over. I can't remember any of this happening. So the Guardian decaps my Necro as he walks off, full caps it, and steals a boss on the back. Awful play. Awful play abandoning mid to go to that boss there. Like, truly, truly bad. And then my Necro randomly elites. You know, guys, if you're going to play Scourge, please be conservative about your elite. It's the #1 thing that I look at and I'm like, wow, is this your first ever Scourge game? People are just so spammy, and it's weird to realize that people are spammy like that with everything they do. Anyway, so he gets the kill. I push on up, and looking at our team's position, I'm really happy with where my ranger moves there because he knows we're around the back of keep. But he's not been looking at back node, which he was in the earlier stages, which is why we lost that. But yeah, the enemy team just completely out-rotate. It's just bad, really, from us, to be honest, the entire thing there. We drop a shade on him because we want to corrupt, because he's just put his elite up. Obviously, I'm not going to aggress that. The warrior can do so, or the warrior can pull him back to the nodes. Again, we're heavily outnumbering. We're getting good rot value here as well, though, so I appreciate my Scourge doing that. Actually holding those bodies. I don't think I've seen any of that going on this game just yet. There's very low chance that someone will come in to res that. Well, maybe the warrior could have. So look. This is a high value elite on node with 3 opponents getting cleaved by it all at once. Wouldn't it be cool if we had 2 of these right now? Look at that crap, all right? Use it well, people. So anyway, yeah, now this guy's dead. I walked back into a Dragon's Maw. I have no idea how long that's been there. I can only assume that the DH put it there way back when he full capped mid. So anyway, we cleave through that. I want to rot that body. There's no point stomping that at all. That's a really, really safe one to hold on to. So many of them on respawn. So many of us around to defend it if somebody tries to res it. It's... So yeah, and there you go. So the enemy team has a really nice comeback just based on terrible rotations, from yours truly included. So here we hold the 1200 range, and we just try and get the marks off as best as possible. This is really nice as well. You should always do this against... kind of, what's the right word? I'm not trying to be offensive or anything. But, okay, so look. This Necro is just charging towards me, trying to close the gap. I think he's a Reaper, right? So he wants to get into Axe range. He wants to get into his Shroud. So you drop the first thing, put him in combat. Second one, if they both land, okay, he's got 2 dodges available. And what he's going to, what his muscle memory is going to be, is he's going to assume that I'm just spamming through all of my marks, okay? And what he's seen is me use the first mark and the second mark. So there is 100% chance he's gonna dodge now. Especially because he's chilled. I think that a lot of players dodge when their movement CC'd, because the dodge allows you to keep the speed. And what he's just trying to do is close the gap as a Reaper, right? So I use the 2 marks, and now I'm gonna wait. Watch this, I don't do anything. And there's a dodge, and there's another dodge, and now we use the Mark 5, yeah? So he eats every single mark. Then he's out of his dodges, and we know that, so we can swap to Scepter for a quickness, oppressive collapse. Straight into the 4. And, yeah, so, I mean... And now he's in Shrouds, which means easy corrupt mode. And yeah, we kill him. He doesn't accomplish anything. With our guys still there, solidifying at mid. There you go. That's another Blood Sage thing. The only reason I really wanted to show you guys this game was because of the cool little 1v1, 1v1 that was kind of a poorly focused 2v2. Which shouldn't really happen, by the way. In 2v2s, when all the players are good, we should all probably be focusing the same targets. Like, it's not smart to split like that. So what you were looking at is 4 bad, myself included, 4 bad players in that 2v2, really. I should be really aggressively on whoever my warrior was on, and my warrior should be trying to see who I'm on, and vice versa as well. So, you know, you train the target down together. And to be fair to myself, in that fight, if you see, I was on my warrior's target. I was ignoring the DH, but then the DH retargeted to me and forced me back. You know, he hazed me out of position with that trap and whatnot, and then I had to go and, you know, basically deal with him first. So, yeah, we kind of got split into a 1v1 and a 1v1, and, you know, we managed to swing it, because Transfuse is OP as all hell, guys. So you can kind of see, actually, that we get more than just the damage, really, here, right? We incapacitate people to a great degree. All the corrupts prevent a lot of their damage from coming through, and, you know, you often come out with top revives and top heals on these, and, you know, it's not even so much about the pressure in a lot of ways. So it's a really nice all-rounder build. People just look at it as a Condi Bomb build. It's not just a Condi Bomb build. It's an all-rounder build. And so, yeah, maybe I'll play with a different utility coming up. Maybe we'll swap to a different build. I'm itching for Mesmer at the moment. I miss playing with portals. I miss being good at portals. I miss all the fancy things you can do to stomp people. I mean, I miss a lot of stuff with Mesmer. So I'm going to see how it feels probably over the next couple of days. And if you see some videos, then it means I was enjoying it. Cheers, guys. Hope you enjoyed. And I'll see you the next one.